So Footscray lead the Hawthorn side by 13 points at the start of the second quarter. Both sides with loose men in defence. Condon wins the ball from the centre. Goes long with the wind. Falling back there was Stanfield. Dunstall onto the left foot. Ball comes through. Oh, this is a gift for Hudson. He kicks it off the ground for his first goal for the afternoon. So Footscray now 3 goals 5, just in front of Hawthorn. 2 goals 4-16.
7 points advantage to Footscray, and Hawthorn with the advantage of the strong breeze. Talking to Ted Whitten earlier, he said it mightn't be a bad toss to lose. We'll make the other side, captain decide what to do, because winning the toss and kicking with the breeze, with the pressure on early in the match, it's very hard to kick goals with this strong wind.
Well, remember the Hawks last week against Sydney. They kicked 7 goals in about 10 minutes and won the game in a burst. And they haven't taken a minute to get their first goal wind assisted at the start of this second quarter. Here's a high ball to the 50. Here go the Hawks again. Jarman looking dangerous. Deer punches on. Gains about 20 metres. But Tui beats Hudson back there. And then kicks out of bounds.
Well, that's the second mistake by Tui. He let that one slip through his guard there a minute ago and let Hudson kick that goal. And now this kick out of bounds on the full.
You really have to mind the mark pretty closely when Darren Jarman's in possession. He can run round you and make you look a fool. He puts it out to the edge of the square. Oh, huge lead by Lawrence. Was he interfering? Well, the umpire allows the behind.
Well, was that a free kick, Jared? He was into the back of Scotty Wine, surely. He didn't touch the ball.
Well, I think he had his eyes on the ball, though, Bernie.
But you still have to do more than that. If you don't touch the ball, it has to be a free kick.
It's one of those grey areas in the football. Kick out now from Campbell with the gloves. Looks for Wind and finds him. Fine kick and fine mark. Goes quickly with the handball to Hawkins. Obviously a loose man in defence. Chip kick to Hunter. And Hunter, who's started the game quite well, brings the ball over to the members' wing. Push out there from Ayres, but he's been granted the mark. Swings inboard with the left hand. Puts Condon under pressure. Platten.
Two of the best tacklers in the business there. Tony Liberatore leading the tackling in the AFL. And Johnny Platten always up there in the top tacklers.
Yes, well, a controversial decision at the Western Oval from David Hallett, but I had to agree. I thought that Libba went to ground. Platten goes long with the ball that Footscray didn't do in the first quarter. Big punch from players. Hudson kicked the last goal, and what's he done with this one? That's a great goal. So Hawthorn burst away now, 3 goals 5. Dead level with Footscray on the same score, 3 goals 5.
These were 2 very quick goals to Hawthorn, both coming from the boot of Hudson. And a very dangerous goal kicker. He kicked 2 goals last year in their premiership year. He was a wonderful contributor. He's been a little bit quieter this year. Tui with a job picking him up. That free kick, I thought that Platten may have just pinned the arm of Libra.
Well, this is looking dangerous for Footscray. Hawthorn level within 2.5 minutes of the start of the second quarter. Tapped by Grant. Coleman. Platten giving chase. Coleman gains about 15 metres, but Platten's in there like a terrier. Grant grabs him. He's holding it.
Oh, that's a tough decision.
Well, he got one a minute ago, and now he gets one paid against him for a tackle.
Well, that tackle before on Libba, he just grabbed Libba's arm. He couldn't do anything with it, but that one on the Chris Grant was right over the top of him very quickly. And surely he must have some opportunity to knock the ball out. He just did not have a chance.
Grant, 2 kicks to goal from there. Del Rey, punch away by Langford, goes to Collins. Mew a bit slow, pushed off his kick. But they're gaining ground, Hawthorn, without getting a possession. Lawrence goes off the ground. Well done, McGuinness to Condon. Kicked by Condon to the 50. Tui well placed this time, and outmarks Hudson.
Yes, well, the crowd are appealing for a 50-metre penalty. But Bernard Tui with 8 possessions. He's had plenty of his share of the ball already. His man's kicked 2 goals. He looks for Wine. Wine trapped from his direct opponent. And Lawrence, geez, they're very vocal at the moment, the crowd. And Collins a little bit upset.
He said, well, you paid the last one. Why didn't you pay that one?
Probably had fair cause too. Ball comes to the ground. Gowers is held. The umpire allows a boundary throw in. Condon just picking himself up off the ground there.
Dougie Hawkins playing an interesting role, way back in defence with no opponent.
Yes, he does that a lot on the Western Oval when the north wind is blowing as it is today. Libba at the bottom of the pack. How often do we see that? Wallace with the quick handball come throw out. But it comes now to Morrissey. Morrissey will go long looking for Dunstall, one out. It's Dunstall versus Campbell with the gloves. And it came off the gloves. A good little punch there from Campbell. It went for the safety over the line for a point to Hawthorn.
Yes, Dougie Hawkins getting back very quickly to assist there.
Campbell, he beat Dunstall 2 weeks in a row in 1990. Last qualifying game in the first week of the finals. Liberatore fires out the hand pass to Tui. Long ball to half forward into the breeze. Grant wrestling off McGuinness. Had to be a free kick for Grant.
Umpire, come on.
Socket off the ground. Chance here for the Bulldogs. Colin hasn't had a touch yet. He goes for goal. Vacant goal square, but misses.
Well, I know you can't have eyes in the back of your head there, but Coleman was running about 20 metres to his right. Such was the pressure that Colin didn't have a chance to realise what was going on, but it would have been almost a certain goal.
Yes, you'd reckon he would have heard his voice, though. Big kick from Langford down the middle of the ground. Fine mark there from Chris Mew. One of the best overhead marks in the business. A veteran, 221 games and 4 premierships. Kicks the ball long and he finds Deere.
Well, Deere, of course, without his initial opponent, that being Peter Foster, he's off the ground with some sort of shin injury.
Well, Deere's gone long. It's Hudson, one out. He's got Hunter on him now. The ball trickled over after the Hunter punch for a boundary throw-in. This is where Footscray have got to block the ball up in that dead pocket there. Must waste some time. Scores a level on 3-6 apiece.
Yeah, Tui's gone on to Jarman now. Stanfield for Footscray. Here's Tui. Can't take the mark. Lawrence waits. Allen gathers for Hawthorn. Airs up from defence. Pings from 50 metres. Dunstall pushing. No mark. Oh, Hawkins, well played. Great play by the skipper. His kick up short of centre wing. Barely over half back into that breeze. Kellett punching away from Pritchard. Bit of jostling, no whistle. Whitman, short pass, short of the 50. And a fine mark, McPherson. A lot of these players playing without an opponent. McPherson one, Hawkins another. The kick towards the centre, and Tui's got it again. Just behind the centre circle, Bernard Tui's kick. Delray well up the ground, a vacant 50-metre arc. Colin not in the backs of the umpire. Off the ground, Baxter. Grant the only chance for Footscray. Collins back with him. Grant trying to work to the front. Well done, Collins. Delray comes to help, goes for the goal. Right across the face, and it bounces out of bounds.
Well done by Andrew Collins, keeping Chris Grant out of that contest. He just used his body well. Not sure Chris Grant could not get around him.
Well, the throw in deep in Footscray's forward line. They need a goal out of this foray forward. Delray shooting from the impossible angle just previously, should have done better, but it comes to Jarman, the most skilled player possibly in the AFL. Wine drops what he should have taken. It's Morrissey and Douglas Hawkins. Now it's Wallace.
And it's on behind play, I think, with Douglas and Morrissey. No, they're okay now.
The left foot specialist, Jarman, looks for Hudson, but Hunter's got him well covered. McPherson, Footscray's best player early in the piece, goes to Hawkins once again. But there's a free kick being paid. Down play, and it's going to Hawthorn's Paul Hudson. And he drives them into attack once again. This time it's Dunstall with the sit. Dunstall should have taken that one, I thought. Gives Campbell a second chance. The ball just goes out of bounds.
It was a big chance, wasn't it, Jared? That,
well, I had him written down for that one. He doesn't drop too many of those.
Gee, pretty tough here, folks.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure, Drew. And I know the wind does drive the ball into the forward line pretty quickly, but there's no punch coming from a defender.
He's got hands like baseball gloves, usually, Jason Dunstall. Here's the dangerous man. Speaking of hands, faster than Jeff Fenwick, Simon Atkins. Down to Collingwood, but he's been beaten by Pritchard, who's doing well in this quarter. Whitman long into the forward line, but Hawkins from behind, and he's been paid maybe a dubious mark.
No, I think he had to be paid, Jared, because it was knocked out of his hands immediately. He took that mark.
Hunter. Well, it's going to be a low-scoring game. You can back that in because everyone's stacking the back line, especially Footscray this quarter, because the scores are level And Hawthorn have 16.5 minutes of wind-assisted time left. Condon, short pass into Allen. High ball with the breeze from Ben Allen, right to the goal square. Dunstall swamped. Oh, he's got a chance at it. Paddles for Platten. Platten pulled off his kick. A great tackle by Hawkins.
Oh, tremendous stuff.
Fantastic stuff. That looked a certainty to John Platten. Now they're back out at the 50. Liberatore over the top to Kellett.
And Kellett takes a bounce. Oh, hello, he's made a blue there. Pritchard, good chase from Pritchard. Goes to Hall, feigns the handball, then throws the ball away, and I mean throw. Atkins under pressure, takes one high, and that's the way umpire Howlett sees it.
And 50 metres,
down it goes from Condon.
No 50?
Well, a little bit of staging there from Atkins, possibly.
Surely Condon just slung him onto the ground. What's going on?
Spoken like a true Footscray supporter.
Not at all. I'm just as an independent observer.
Coleman takes the mark. Goes to McPherson. He's got men in space and free. Danny Delray. Ball comes to ground now. Delray now has lost his support. All Footscray players forward of the play. Pritchard gives the ball to Condon. And Condon goes long. He's kicked it straight to Wine though. Poor kick. No mark again or free kick. Hunter doing well now. He goes wide and it's Wallace in the clear. Right dead set centre of the Doug Hawkins wing.
Actually, for a team stacking the back line, the Bulldogs got into attack pretty quickly then, but they ran up the ground off the ball. The difference with Hawthorn is they had men at the ball.
Yeah, they're all forward of the play there, the Footscray players, weren't they? Waiting for someone to do the hard work.
And when the ball didn't come forward, they were exposed. But we have a boundary throw in right half forward for the Bulldogs. They haven't been forward of the centre too often this quarter. Coleman to Liberatore. Going better this quarter, Libber. Baxter. Up inside the 50. Grant. Score by McGuinness. Off the ground, Whitman. Comes to Collins. Now it could be wide open for the Hawks. Dunstall and Hudson the only chances. Campbell did well. Mansfield fumble. Hall. Off the ground, Stanfield. He's a bit unlucky there. Straight into Lawrence. Now Dunstall. Breeze behind and he's only 40 metres out.
Well, he was 30 metres there from Tony Campbell, Jason Dunstall. Tony Campbell opting to try to read the play rather than staying with his man as Keenan Reynolds has taken off. Brian Royal replacing him.
Had a few chances in the first quarter into the breeze, Dunstall, but kicked 1 goal 3. His first clear shot in the second quarter. He's missed again. Well, that's amazing. Is this the man who's kicked 68 goals, 33 this year?
Well, Tony Lockett had a bad day out here earlier in the season too, Drew. On a fairly windy day such as this, he couldn't find the target.
Footscray back in attack. Ball comes through the pack, goes to Wine.
Oh.
Goes to Tui, who seems to be a little bit out of sorts. He handballs it straight to Lawrence. Lawrence on to Jarman, who's under pressure, and that was a throw for mine. The umpire, boundary umpire, says Stephen Lawrence has taken the ball over the line. Bernard Tui gave that one straight back to Hawthorn. Lawrence couldn't believe his good fortune. And here he is, man in question. McPherson, who's been busy, gets the ball on there to Mansfield. Bernard Tui gets the handball to Wallace, who can't pick the ball up. A lot of Footscray players are fumbling. They're under the immense Hawthorn pressure, and it's paying dividends. Ben Allen kicks it off the ground. Goes to the centre half-forward position where Paul Deere fights for the ball with Stanfield. Collins, one of the terriers of the AFL, gives it to Morrissey. Morrissey onto Pritchard, who looks for Dunstall, but it's a poor kick. Hawkins has stopped everything down there this quarter, playing very well. Gets the ball out to Campbell. Campbell goes wide looking for Coleman. And Coleman takes the free kick. Too high, said the umpire.
Well, he'll lose it if he continues on with that. The whistle had been blown. Coleman's got the free kick.
He didn't know it was his.
And I don't think anyone knows what it's for anyway.
Took him a week to work out it was his.
Well, it was a bit dubious, a free kick anyway. It just goes to show, the players don't even know what's going on with some of these decisions.
Footscray have kicked just 1 behind in this quarter. Collingham tries to keep the ball going forward. Ayres ducks his head. Allen, Lawrence. Half back to half forward. Hawkins has been superb in this role. Spare man in defence. Tui's hand passes behind his teammate Stanfield. The rest of them under the pump. McPherson helps out Stanfield. Hawkins, brilliant. Hunter over the top to Wallace. Now they've got to get men forward. Steve Wallace to Toohey. Well, he double forward well then, Bernard Toohey.
He seems to be playing a role in the middle of the ground now, Drew. Taken out of defence, Bernard Toohey.
14 disposals to Toohey. High ball. Royals just come on the ground. Out in the forward pocket. He tries to centre. Not a bad effort. No, out of bounds on the full.
So I think centering the ball would have been the percentage thing to do. It's a bit difficult for Toohey because whilst he's got 14 possessions, you'd probably say at the moment that he's had a pretty ordinary game with Hudson getting those early goals, but he's trying to make amends with good possessions now. The free kick's been paid.
A holding decision there paid by the umpire against Chris Whitman, taken by Steve Kolonyuk.
Well, they're squealing as though they haven't had any frees. The free kick count is 9-7 in favour of Footscray.
Well, the crowd out here, of course, fairly parochial as well, you could say, Drew.
Have been known to have a yell.
But Kolonyuk fairly quiet. He's only coming in for his second kick.
Steve Kolonyuk shoots for goal from 30 metres out. And once again, all players have missed to the right-hand side of the goals. And that's a poor shot from Kolonyuk, who's having words with the runner. I'm sure Wheeler's asking for an improved performance from him.
Yeah, Kolonyuk the only scores for Footscray this quarter, but unfortunately both have been behinds. Footscray have the numbers here. Wine gets in to take it off Condon. Well played, Delray. He comes out wide. Royal at full tilt.
He took that well, Choco, didn't he? He looked to be out of the contest here for a moment, but taking a long time getting back, giving the Hawthorn defenders a chance to get back there and cover their men. Because this is still a hard kick from this pocket with the breeze the way it is blowing from the north.
Not as strong as it was at the start of the game, but it is across him left to right. Looking for the Bulldogs' first goal of this quarter. Aims it left. It comes back. Oh, what a kick! Bulldogs lead by that kick, 4-7 to 3-7.
I think you're right, Drew, that looking at that windsock, the northerly has eased up a little bit. So I thought, had the wind been at the same strength as it was earlier in the game, that Brian Royal would have been, well, he would have been setting himself a task kicking that one from about 40 metres out, but he read that beautifully.
Well, Footscray lead by a goal after a brilliant goal to Brian Royal. Showed a lot of local knowledge kicking that one. Footscray starting to mount some sort of role here with Liberatore giving the free kick in the middle of the ground. The 1990 Brownlow medalist kicks the ball wide, looking for Royal once again. It's been an inspired move from Terry Wheeler to bring this player on.
He was off too there, a bit lucky to get away with it.
He's slipped, he's found Callett, who runs in to shoot for goal. Could it be set? Footscray second in 2 minutes. It's another great shot at goal. So Nigel Callett kicks his first for the afternoon, and Footscray go to a 2-goal lead, 5-7 to 3-7.
Yes, that was a wonderful goal there from Nigel Callett. He's missed 3 weeks with a quadricep injury. Of course, he's very heavily bandaged here on that right thigh, as you can see. But Brian Royal again setting up that goal. He's come onto the ground and doing very well in that forward pocket.
Well, when Hudson kicked 2 goals in the first 3 minutes of this quarter, it looked how far Hawthorn. But all of a sudden, Footscray lead by 2 goals. Liberatore. High tackle, he'll take the free kick.
Yes, Liberatore is at the bottom of the pack. The last 2 free kicks going to Libba, so Footscray winning it out of the centre.
Had a good quarter.
Free kicks now 11-7 Footscray's way. Out at centre wing. Stanfield taken out of it. Pritchard takes the mark. Kicked by Darren Pritchard. On his own is Morrissey. Skirts around, centres to Platten, right at centre half forward, Johnny Platten. Well, Hawthorn need this.
Yeah, I think they really need to man up on Johnny Platten, Footscray.
They trail by 2 goals. The kick by Platten from 51 metres. Not a bad kick from a little man.
No, great effort from Johnny Platten. He's had a good game this afternoon. 3 marks, 11 kicks, 1 hand pass. And now 1 goal to the little Hawthorn champion. A very damaging player if he's allowed to be. And he really hasn't had an opponent, a direct opponent this afternoon. And he would really appreciate that.
Well, it's a titanic struggle at the Western Oval. John Platten goaling with his first kick for the quarter. Khaled pulled off the ball, should get the free kick. No, says the umpire. Handball to Condon. Condon looking for Pritchard. Handball to the voice. But Chris Grant, who was a superb player in the first quarter, spears a kick low looking for Royal, or it possibly would have been for Coleman. It's gone over his head and taken by Chris Mew. Poor kick from Mew. Luckily he had Ayres in support. Ayres goes to the centre of the ground, puts McGuinness under pressure. He's well tackled by Kolyniuk. Makes the ball go to the ground. Wallace over to Atkins. Atkins on to Liberatore, who's become some sort of dominant force in this quarter. Ball once again with Collins. Collins finds Condon. He looks forward. Libber again. Liberatore now with 10 possessions after a quiet first quarter. He looks for Royal. Oh, good mark to Royal under severe pressure from Collins.
Yes, he's done well, hasn't he, Jared, since he came onto the ground. Brian Royal coming in for his fourth kick. He's only been on for 5 minutes or so. Set up a couple of goals for Footscray.
Full marks to Wheeler. But Royal's looking at a very static forward line. There's no movement up there. They've got Delray and Grant that should be leading.
Oh, you're right. There's no movement at all.
Finally, it's Delray. But too predictable there with Lawrence coming across. They've got to do something about their forward structure, Footscray. Royal once again kicks the ball wide, but it's Mew on his own. Mew stands and delivers with the spiral torpedo that's gone all of 70 metres. Paul Deere comes across and punches. Wine goes to Douglas. Douglas, who's been excellent with 7 handballs now, goes to McPherson, who dummies around and kicks it long. But that's a poor kick just straight up in the air. Gives Hawthorn plenty of time to muster their forces. Pritchard off the ground, puts Condon under pressure, and what pressure it is from the little liver. Ball kicked now into Footscray's forward line. Poor bounce there for Grant. Comes now to Condon, who's getting plenty of the football. Kicks it to the centre wing, where it's a one-out battle between Stanfield and Deere. Ball on the ground. Lipper pushed in the back by his own player. And the crowd called for a ball up. That was clearly a throw from Platten, and the members let the umpire know. Ball comes to Deere, on to Jarman, who swings it round on his right foot. A lot of pressure here for the players in the Blue Guernseys. Well done by Tui there. Kicks the ball long, and he's looking for Grant, who takes the big leap. Roved well by Atkins. Atkins on to Royal. Royal back to Atkins. With good vision finds Coleman, who decides to go round. Looks like a stallion with that right leg bandaged up. But Delray badly beaten by Langford, who clears for Hawthorn.
Jarman running it out of defence. The hand pass is good to Pritchard. Pritchard to half forward. Tui in the road and McPherson in front. Can't take the one-hander. Dished out by Tui to Hawkins, who's had a superb second quarter, the skipper. Stanfield lopes after it. Hawkins again, one way, then the other. His hand pass a bit slick. Gowers takes the ball out. Only 4.5 minutes remaining in the quarter, and Footscray hold the lead by 1 goal.
Well, it looked ominous early in the quarter, didn't it, Drew, when Hawthorn got those 2 very early goals, but since then Footscray has done well to keep Hawthorn out.
Atkins taps back beautifully. Baxter up towards the centre of the ground. Royal has been a star in the last 5 minutes. Dragged to the ground by Collins, no whistle. Tui in after it. Thought he'd forced the ball up, but there was no whistle. Kellett's hand passes out wide to Baxter. A high ball short of half forward. Grant, McGuinness, no mark. Kolyniuk whips it away from them. One out is Delray. He leaves Langford, but goes to ground. Mew comes in for Hawthorn. Doesn't look like a team that's won 3 out of the last 4 premierships at the moment. Hawthorn, they're struggling, but Ayres has it just behind the wing. Out to Pritchard. The kick by Pritchard to the 50-metre line. Platten wrestling off McPherson. Allen in after it. Goal here will level the scores if the Hawks can get it, but Doug Hawkins is back there. Well played. Whipped in by Hudson is clever. Hall, short pass, and right in front is Lawrence. And this should be a goal to level the scores.
That's good play there by Hudson, getting a pat on the back there from teammate James Morrissey. Lovely tap over back into that centre corridor area. And Steve Lawrence, really the ruckmen haven't had much influence on the game today. Either Scotty Wind or Steve Lawrence, 2 of the very good young ruckmen playing AFL football.
Lawrence, the Queenslander, to level the scores. He's done that. Low-scoring affair at the Western Oval, 5-7 apiece.
Yeah, it's a very tough condition to kick goals here today, even though the northerly seems to have dropped a little bit in the last 15 minutes or so. We've seen two good goals from Footscray to the Barclay Street end of the ground, one coming from Brian Royal from a set shot and the other one from Nigel Callett on the run. And yet Hawthorn, with the breeze this quarter, have only been able to manage 3 goals for the term. And Jason Dunstall has kicked one goal for, so he's been pretty quiet. He's had a few opportunities but has been off target.
Ball back in the centre. Gary Ayres has been moved up from the back line into the middle, and there he is putting the tackle on Baxter. Once again another tackle from Ayres, and they don't come any better than him. McPherson now with the ball. Received the handball from Wallace. Looks for Grant, who's been a fine play today. Crowd wanted a free kick.
So did Chris Grant too. He looked at the umpire and said a few words from Chris Grant to the umpire. Cannot believe it. Still saying a few words. And it's unusual for him too, Jared, because he's just a player that plays the game and gets on with it.
I'd like to see him move down to full forward this last couple of minutes. Chris Grant, I don't think Del Ray's the answer there right at the moment. Morrissey gets the ball to Condon, who's had plenty of the ball this quarter. Comes to Hall. And stacks on the middle, and all Footscray players appealing for that free kick. There's no way Hall could have got the ball out. So scores a level here, the Western Oval. A 3-5 goal advantage now. Wind a little bit gusty, blowing left to right of screen. Ball kicked out, a toe poke. Comes to Baxter. Baxter goes along the members' wing. It's Collinyuk and Collins and Whitman in a one-on battle. The umpire's plucked a free kick and given it to Whitman.
Well, you're right, he plucked that one, didn't he?
Certainly did. It didn't appear to be much in it at all. It's wind at the back. Doug Hawkins, who's picked up an absolute fortune of kicks, or plenty of possession. They were giving dollars out for the amount of possessions he's got to be going straight to the bank with plenty. Baxter looking for Stanfield and Wine. Good mark from Stanfield, who backs into the pack. Takes an excellent mark. Only 17 AFL games, only a youngster, but gaining with experience.
That's a free. Tui's free kick. Andrew Collins, before the ball arrived, got rid of Tui, so he had to take that free.
Well, the crowd believed that they were due for one, and Tui pumps the ball in. Collinyuk picks up the crumb, goes across the face of goal, but there's no one home, as we saw not so long ago with Del Ray, and Langford goes back and will run the ball out from defence.
Under a minute remaining to half-time. Scores dead level here at the Western Oval. Mew to Ayres. Looking for a goal here to hit the front before the break. Platten taken out of it by Hunter. Well played, Wallace. And the ball goes out of play. McPherson, and we'll have a throw in.
Very good quarter for the Bulldogs.
Oh, well, fantastic quarter. They've kicked 2 goals, 2 into the breeze. Hawthorn managed 1-4 into the breeze in the first quarter. This kick inside the 50. Grant, no mark again. Langford whips it away from full back. Just 2 seconds remaining. The siren will beat them. It's all tied up here at half-time. 5-7, 37 each at the Western Oval.